Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 8th Winnipeg Underground Film Festival, our first online-only virtual festival. I'm Megan Elizabeth Diamond, the director of WOOF. We're excited to present to you just over 50 short films and one really long one, packaged into 7 programs, 6 of which are followed by live Q&As and our first round of workshops. Tonight, we're kicking things off Distracted Blueberry, presented in partnership with the Winnipeg Cinematheque on their Cinematheque at Home platform. We'll be talking to Barry momentarily for a pre-screening chat with Aaron Zagers. After the chat with Barry is over, you can scroll down on our homepage and click on the image that will take you directly to the Cinematheque at Home, where you're able to view Distracted Blueberry. Before we get things started, WOOF acknowledges it operates on Treaty 1 territory. This is the original land of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and on the homeland of the Red River Métis Nation. While we recognize the stolen lands our festival operates on, both in person and virtually, we hope you will acknowledge the origins of the land you may be tuning in from and hope you will take a moment to reflect on those roots similarly. This week's tragedies uncovered in both Kamloops, British Columbia and Brandon, Manitoba have gripped us with grief. We stand in solidarity with our Indigenous community and are listening. Just a couple housekeeping things to mention. We have merch. Barry made us a wonderful t-shirt, so we have those for sale on our website. You can also buy a Barry Doupé shirt, a WOOF pin, and a WOOF tote for $50. All of the things are available sold separately. The Barry shirt is $30, and then we have the package for all of them for $50. The other thing that we have going on our website for the entire duration of the festival is the chat box on our homepage. So if you watch Distracted Blueberry tonight and then go to sleep and have this amazing dream of where it intersects with your life, wake up in the middle of the night and drop your line in the chat and let us know how that went, or please just use the chat before, after, or during watching any of the films. And let's all be nice in there. Lastly, I'd like to say some thank yous. So thank you to our funders and our community partners. Thank you to the Winnipeg Film Group Cinematheque, Manitoba Arts Council, and the Canada Council for the Arts. And special thanks to the Tech Angels at Collective Broadcast Co. for bringing WOOF online. Thank you, Alyssa Bourne and the WOOF Collective. Thank you to Tobin Rowland for letting us use Dog Park for our WOOF poster this year as a match made in heaven. And thank you, Barry, for the t-shirt design. And now I give you Aaron Zagers and Barry Doupé. Enjoy the stream.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're going to be with Barry, and he's waiting in the wings. I just wanted to say a couple quick things. Welcome to WOOF 8, so exciting. I'm Aaron Zagers. I'm a meager, lowly volunteer here at WOOF, and I just wanted to send a quick thanks out to all of the volunteers, completely volunteer-run organization that WOOF is. And it is these volunteers that have made this year's festival happen. So thanks to the festival director, Megan Elizabeth Diamond, and also to Madeline Bogosh, who was instrumental in the programming of this year's festival, and also the rest of the collective. I mean, you know who you are, but everyone involved, Sarah, Amanda, Scott, Simmons, everyone else that's involved in the festival. Thank you so much for your hard work and labor. And thanks, of course, to all of the artists taking part. Speaking of artists taking part, Barry Doupé is tonight's guest, and his film Distracted Blueberry is playing on Cinematheque at Home. You can scroll down to find the link for that on the big graphic that says click here for Distracted Blueberry. And we're going to be speaking with Barry Doupé. I'm just going to introduce Barry quickly here, and then we'll bring him in from the wings. Barry Doupé is a Vancouver-based artist primarily working with computer animation. His films use imagery and language derived from the subconscious, developed through writing exercises and automatic drawing. He often creates settings within which a character's self-expression or action is challenged and thwarted, resulting in comic, violent, and poetic spectacles. Join me in welcoming Barry Doupé to the Winnipeg Underground Film Festival. Yay.
Yay.
That's Barry. And thanks to Joel, who's doing these nice titles on screen right now. Welcome, Barry. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for doing the t-shirt, and thanks for letting us screen your film.
Thanks so much for showing the film.
Of course, yes. Yeah, we're so excited, and we hope everyone enjoys it. And if you don't watch the whole thing, you're utter failure. So I'll just put that out there right now. To start with, I mean, I was just thinking about like, you know, kind of my impression of your work. And I mean, you've been making animations now for almost, I guess, 20 years, or a little under 20 years. I don't know, maybe when you released your first animation, just going off your website. But where did you get your start with this kind of aesthetic of digital kind of lo-fi, if you want to call it that, computer generated animation?
Well, in university, and I took the animation course at Emily Carr, and I was mostly working with hand-drawn animation, but I took a self-directed course in the computer animation department, and I made a film in that course where I was using hand-drawn textures, more painterly things in the computer. And that started to shift my opinion about computer animation, because I think before I had some sort of like some negative feelings towards computer animation, but when I started working more with it, so that would be 2002, I started. I mean, there's some films that I made that aren't on my website that I've made previously.
Yeah.
They're more assignments, really.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, obviously Distracted Blueberry is your latest feature film, but for some of the first films that I remember seeing of yours were Ponytail and Whose Toes, and you know, and you know, when I watched Distracted Blueberry, I was kind of like, I mean, I don't know if maybe it's not true, but it seemed like the tech or some of the techniques, or maybe somehow in generating the images, was slightly different from those earlier films. Have you kind of like progressed to use different software or different techniques kind of through kind of from those early films to some of your more latest stuff?
It's the same program, but you know, I spent some time learning. I spent about a year doing tutorials to learn more techniques using the program, and I did a kind of self enrichment kind of thing where I decided I was going to learn what every single button and every single menu did in the program, because there's a lot of buttons, and I had just been using the sort of things that I had been taught, which the program can do a lot more than that. So I decided, yeah, so I just did tutorials on every single aspect of the program, and those tutorials sort of opened up different ways of making effects and things like that that really got me excited.
Yeah,
it's also in HD, which is a bit different because I had been working 4:3. I really loved the 4:3 aspect ratio and resolution and everything, but things had sort of slowly moved away from. I was used to seeing things displayed on TVs and DVDs and stuff, which looked great on that resolution, but things are more on the computer screens now, or things are higher res. So I moved up to HD for the first time, I think.
Yeah, that might be what I noticed, because it just seemed like the latest stuff that I saw, obviously in Distracted Blueberry and some of the clips, so some of the shorter animations that are on your Vimeo right now, I noticed just kind of seemed, yeah, a little bit more high def. So I guess that would be part of it. Maybe we'll throw to a quick clip. One of the things that would really astounded me in Distracted Blueberry was some of the kind of trippy like particle animation breakdown stuff that was going on. I don't know. I mean, at some point in the how many minutes is the film here? 200 and yeah. So somewhere in there was these particle animations, and this short clip that you have on your on Vimeo called Particle Vase kind of displays a little bit of that. So let's just take a quick look at that, Joel. And so maybe you can tell us a little bit about what these short videos that you've posted more recently, what are they? Just playing around? Or are they part of a bigger project or?
This was actually a project. I made 10 videos for this outdoor screen at the university at my car.
Yep.
They co-own this screen with the city, and I was asked to make work for it. So I made these 10 shorts, and that's kind of why there's no audio. So that's kind of like one reason why there's no audio on those clips. It's because it was just a visual thing. There's no speakers on the screen.
Yeah. And we're going to quickly watch Torso Galaxy as well here, which is just so cool. I mean, like these ideas of kind of like these digital sculptures, I feel like are like have a lot to say kind of about your body of work, maybe for some reason. Very cool. That was another one of those clips I guess that you made for that public display.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's talk a little bit about Distracted Blueberry first, I guess, then. I mean, I guess just generally, is there anything that you want to say to preface the film at all? I could read a little bit of the synopsis for folks that are going to tune into that later, but is there anything that you want to preface it with?
You know, it's kind of hard because I don't like, I have so much I'd want to say, but I don't even know where to start really, because it's such a big piece of it's like really important to me. It's like this big piece of my consciousness that I don't know how to give it to you guys.
Yeah.
I have to sort of chip away at it, or I have to have some kind of prompt, but
fair enough. Yeah, that's honestly what I was thinking. Like one of the things, I mean, that I love tuning into is your movie reviews that you do every so often on your Facebook. And I sat down last night to like after rewatching Distracted Blueberry again this week, and I'm like, oh, I should write like a Barry Doupé movie review for Distracted Blueberry, because of course when I was in Vancouver for VIFF, you wrote one about Danny that was by far the best review that film ever got.
okay.
And I just like, I mean, same thing. I was like, where do I start with this 4.5 hour long epic, incredible film? You know, like, what do I say? So maybe what I'll do is I'll just read the synopsis that we have to give it a bit of context for those people tuning in. And also it might help them kind of glean onto some of your intentions while watching this film later. Distracted Blueberry follows a performance art band through a series of poetic encounters. Masculine tropes are undone to form a relationship between male sexuality and the human death drive. The body, violence, and human are positioned in the larger context of nothingness and somethingness, bridging a tension between extended anxieties and the terrors of nature, externalized anxieties and the terrors of nature. Yeah, I mean, like my thoughts on it are, of course, all over the place. And I'm sure it's a film that I could watch over and over again and glean different little things on. You know, there's repeating imagery. There's obviously a lot of intent there on your behalf. And it's interesting to hear that it seems like what you're saying is it's kind of a very personal film. And that's kind of what I was wondering about it. You know, is this just, you know, like you talk about, you know, representing the subconsciousness in your films, but like, I guess what I was wondering while watching it is this a film that you feel is like a direct representation of kind of, or a personal expression, you know, or is it just kind of more of a disassociative kind of representation of your subconscious or subconscious thoughts, you know? But it seems like what you were just saying is that it is very kind of personal and to you.
Well, I felt like that it was, in a big way, it was me kind of trying to understand what sex is
Hmm.
and what it means to connect with somebody. And it's really kind of a lot of things. It's complicated and funny and scary um, and it took me a long time to know if I was really getting to the point of it, getting or to really unearthing this kind of weird mystery that we're all saddled with. But for me, I feel like I was really satisfied, I think, that I was able to figure it out for myself using this film.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible film. It's funny and like very moving at times, and also like stomach turningly disturbing at times as well. Completely disorienting at times, kind of terrifying, like a fever dream, but also these like then these moments of like complete tenderness, as well. So yeah, it's really incredible. One of the things, I mean, obviously it's also very explicit, and it kind of like the first sequence for me, I'm not gonna get, I don't want to, no spoilers alert or whatever, but like, but there's some of it that was like, oh God, like there's some kind of disturbing stuff. So I don't know if that's a content warning. One of the things that Meg and I were chatting about was like, have you ever had, like, what do you think about content warnings for like a film like this? And like, have you ever had to like write a content warning for your film or for your films?
No one's told me that I had to, but when the pandemic started and there was an online screening, I felt like there was an online screening with this gallery, South Kiosk in London, and I did put a content warning on the film because I thought somebody might stumble into it thinking, oh, animation,
Yeah.
fun, I don't know, but at the same time, if it's a real life screening, I feel like you're in a room, you're sort of like, there's this intention, you're going to this place, you probably have done some research what you're going to see.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just felt like somebody could accidentally stumble into this thing and it'd be a little more than they were expecting. So I did put a warning on it for that, for online stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes me, that story kind of makes me think of when we screened the colors that combine to make white are important. We did a video pool, and there was a lot. It just turned out that there was like quite a few people showed up to the screening, and I think a number of them like didn't really have any idea what they're getting into, and it was incredible because these people came in and it was pretty hot. It was because it's in video pool studio. We're like right now I'm just like dripping. It was like similar, and heat wave and like this like 2-hour experimental animation, and like the end sequence of that film is like so incredible because it's a really like kind of like a long kind of singular scene that kind of culminates in this like woman fingering herself for like a good 10 minutes, but it probably felt like maybe 20 minutes for some of the people there. I just remember like certain people kept on going out to the lobby to get like a glass of water and like pounding this glass of water. But then I was just like so impressed by these people who really didn't know what they're getting into, like getting back in there and like stick like, and then they would come out maybe for another 5-minute break, grab a glass of water and then go back in. So it was really interesting to see how people really were able, that didn't probably know a whole lot about experimental cinema, were really able to, they really had their minds blown, and but like also stuck it out through the film. And I guess I just wonder about Distracted Blueberry. I mean, I saw it premiered at Antimatter Film Festival, and I'm just wondering what like audience reactions have been like to this or other pieces of your work. I mean, I'm sure you realize that like probably not a lot of people have seen a film like the films that you make, not exactly a mainstream, kind of form, I guess.
Well, I remember the screening in Antimatter. I think that's the only real life screening I've had of it. So like, and with a real audience. I remember there was one girl, and for about half an hour, she put her hand over her ears and put her head between her legs, and just was like that. And I just thought, like, why do you just go? Like, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the film to like not be like this? I don't know.
Clint in the chat says, like ponytail at plastic paper, which I guess is a reference to the animation festival that happened in Winnipeg for a number of years. And I'm not sure, maybe he wants to elaborate on that, but
I think the colors that combine to make white are important. It was the first time people kept using this word to tell me what they thought, and they kept saying challenging. And that word just, to me, like, I don't, it's just, maybe it's because I'm an animator and like, to me, like, you know, I sit for like days on a single thing. It's like nothing. But for someone to sit for like 20 minutes during a scene, I don't know, maybe just my idea of endurance is connected to animation, which it's just a different type of art form. It kind of hardens your attention span. So I'm sorry to all you guys.
oh my God, you have nothing, absolutely nothing to apologize for. But I think that is interesting because, you know, animation is so time consuming, you know, like I have done, you know, some Super 8 animation, you know, working one frame at a time, 24 frames a second, and it really puts your headspace into a whole different kind of perspective, you know, and that's sometimes what I like about you know, films that are longer, experimental films that are, you know, longer, or could be considered durational, or could be considered challenging. You know, it makes you sit with it, and really, especially at a live screening, you know, and I know we're all watching at home and everyone's got their phones on them, everyone's got their whatever, but, you know, try to commit and try to watch to a bit, because there's a lot of stuff that, unless you're like in Distracted Blueberry specifically, imagery and kind of some repeat imagery and stuff that, you know, you're only going to see and get that and really have that experience if you're kind of devote your attention to it. Anyways, that's my thing. One of the things I wanted to do is throw a couple times to some of the film reviews you have written. So maybe I'll do that right now. I'll read a couple here. Here's one of my favorite ones from recently. I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Charlie Kaufman, 2020. Fun but mopey. Wonderful. I'm gonna get there's a couple other ones. Here's a good one. Boys in the Hood, John Singleton, 1991. Every scene is overflowing with purpose. Makes me want to be more succinct and purposeful in my art making. I guess why I'm bringing this up is I'm just wondering. I'm assuming from these, and I'm assuming from what I know from you, that you like watching movies, and that's kind of, does that inform your practice at all? But and like, are you like a would you consider yourself a cinephile, or like, do you watch a lot of movies?
I did watch a lot of movies. I think something happened to me. Something kind of weird happened to me after making this film, where my attention for films that are not personal, I guess, or like that aren't this degree of honesty that I'm sort of craving, that I'm finding more in podcasts. I'm finding this sort of personal honesty thing and directness more through podcasts than I am through movies. It's making movies for me feel very artificial in a way that I'm finding off-putting. And I also because I'm working on a film right now, it's requiring me to spend a lot of time on it, and just listening to me is a lot more engaging, because I need my eyes to animate if I just listen. So I'm listening to a lot more podcasts than than I am watching movies. And also because I also like to watch movies in the theater, and theaters haven't been open. So I used to go maybe once a week to the theater just to see films, but haven't been able to do that. And then yeah, just I do love movies. I did love movies a lot more before I made Distracted Blueberry.
Damn you, Distracted Blueberry. Well, hopefully, I mean, you know, it's good to, everyone goes through phases with stuff, I guess. But I mean, it seems like you're from some of your movie reviews, it seems like you're have watched a lot of stuff and are quite the cinephile. I'm going to read one more here. Rear Window by Alfred Hitchcock. This is one of my it's just so beautiful, this one, 1954. And it goes along with the picture kind of contrast of Jimmy Stewart when his eyes change from blue to green in the film. You're probably wondering why Jimmy Stewart's eyes turn from blue to green in this one shot. Here are my thoughts. Lisa is perfect equals boring. But over the course of the film, she starts to take risks equals real person points, which appeals to Jeffrey's journalistic side. In this shot, he's looking at her and she's wearing green. His eyes, bracket, eyes are important because the whole film is about looking, end bracket, turn green because it means he's seeing her. She's finding her way into his heart and being reflected back out into the world through his looking. So it's awesome. And I guess one of the reasons I'm bringing that up is not just about watching movies, but it's also about writing. And I mean, if anyone has seen the incredible WAF t-shirt, oh, I'm blocking WAF t-shirt, folks will know, thanks Joel, folks will know that you are an incredible writer, I think. And I'm just wondering if that's something you've ever explored, kind of, I mean, like obviously you're writing all of the dialogue in the films that you're making, which is incredible, but have you ever considered, or have you ever worked just purely with text and writing in your practice?
I'm working on, like, I have a collection of writing that I would like to find some way to publish it. I don't know, like,
Talk to Clint, I think.
it just seems like another world to me that
Yeah.
I love the writing, and I do at some point want to get my writing published. I just don't know how.
Yeah. I hope you figure it out. And Clint's watching, and he's got his hands in a couple of baskets as far as writing goes. It seems like always. He was telling me that he's actually has been working on some writing about you. So we at WUF we eagerly look forward to the completion of those supposed articles that Mr. Clintens is working on. Maybe I'll read one more review, and this is the one you did of my film, Danny, and it's so beautiful. Here we go. The camera stands in for a relationship that wasn't found in other people, a mirror that doesn't reflect. In other people, we're trying to find a true iteration of ourselves. You can't tickle yourself, though. You can't feel yourself. Someone else has to feel you for there to really be a you. He knows this, and there is a sense of resignment in forward-facing confessions about his family, his sexuality, and his terminal illness. Not as sad as I thought it would be. Wonderful. Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about your Amiga paintings. Joel, we can pull those up, and I'm just going to cover my camera somehow here so people can see them. But can you tell us a little bit about this project and what kicked this off, this series of paintings you did, presumably with Amiga?
Well, this is interesting because it does relate to Distracted Blueberry. I was working on Distracted Blueberry, and I had a studio visit with somebody that I respect, and we talked. This was maybe I was a third of the way through Distracted Blueberry, and after our crit, I just needed some time to think about what we talked about, because I felt like I wasn't sure if what I want to have happen was happening in the film. So I need to take a break from it. And so these paintings, I started working on these paintings, because they were so different from the film, they were things that I could do, and they were contained within themselves. So like I could, they only had their own, the idea that they had inside them. I didn't have to, like in the film, all the scenes have to sort of relate to each other because they're happening together and they're families of thoughts. But with the drawings, I could kind of, it really loosened up my mind that I needed loosening up. And so I just decided to start this project where I do 100 of these digital paintings using the Amiga. And the Amiga is something that I had done earlier with a commission project through Trinity Square Video. I made the video Whatty, which I think you're going to show maybe. But yeah, this is through Deluxe Paint 5 on the Amiga. And it's a really simple paint program that I've sort of fallen in love with since that commission project. And I'm actually working on another animation right now using it. And it's such a the program was really ahead of its time. It's made by Electronic Arts. And I can tell that it was made by people who actually animate and who actually draw. Like it's a program I could tell the artists had a lot of input because everything is just so perfectly available to you. But it's not high res. It's not a lot of the things that people would be drawn to nowadays. But I like how simple it is, and so I use it.
Yeah, they're great. I really like them. And yeah, I kind of saw a connection between Whatty, this really short animation that you made, and these Amiga paintings. So I'm glad that I was correct in that. So Joel, we're going to take a look at Whatty right now. Yeah, when I was watching that, I mean, first of all, it feels so kind of sandboxy and playful. It's so fun. But it also made me think immediately of Bruce Bickford's comic that Frenches the Mind, just kind of this morphing, animation. I just wondered if Bruce Bickford was the late Bruce Bickford was at all an influence on you or on your work at any point.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing. I think what I liked about his drawing animation was that so much is going on. You could tell it's really it's really him exploring some kind of personal imagery. Like it's like he would be making. It just feels like he would be making on and on and on in his own little spot in the world. And it's not like the kind of thing where I'm making this and I'm showing it to you. It's just like he's making this thing, and it's like its own piece of nature. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, his work is incredible. We actually have a little clip from comic The Frenches Your Mind. Let's just take a look at that in comparison to what we're talking about here.
Hey, that's a doobie. Don't touch that. Don't suck on that. Oh, too late. Sorry, I warned you. Now, it's your brain on drugs. You had something. Now it's your mind on eggs. Gobble some of that stuff.
So cool, yeah. Yeah, it really just seems both of them seem just kind of like really stream of consciousness or something, about it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is with when you're doing straight ahead animation, you can't plan. So one thing leads to another, and then you're sort of working on it, and you'll say, oh, maybe this area can move in this direction, and maybe over here needs this color, and then it kind of takes on its own thing, and you lose a bit of control because you can't plan.
Yeah.
And so that's the fun of it, is like you sleep better because you're not going to sleep thinking, oh, what's going to happen in 3 scenes from now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Let me just check my notes and see where we're going. What's the time here? How long? So okay, we got lots of time here. The screening for Distracted Blueberry, I will say, is now active. So if anyone is getting bored of us rambling, you're welcome to go down below the video, click here for Distracted Blueberry, and head over to the Cinematheque on demand, and check that out. I guess one of the other films that we talked about tonight, that certainly is one of my most memorable experiences, as you heard, screening The Colors That Combine to Make White, our important 2012 film of yours that we screened at Video Pool back in the day. And is there anything you want to say about that film? I mean, basically the film explores the power structure within a failing Japanese glass factory, and kind of 2 parallel storylines, one involving investigation of a suspect employee and another stolen painting. Is there anything in particular we got the trailer here that we can throw to, but is there anything you want to say about that film, potentially about it in relation to Distracted Blueberry, the film that folks are going to watch tonight?
I think they're related. I sort of feel like the 3 feature films, Ponytail, Colors, and Distracted Blueberry, are all related and reacting to each other. The Colors, I really felt like I wanted to have this narrative pull because Ponytail was so unruly. It was just whatever I thought should happen next happened next.
Yeah.
But and then Distracted Blueberry is kind of a meshing of those 2 ways of thinking. But Distracted Blueberry was also kind of reacting to the amount of language that was in Colors. Like I felt like there was so much talking and so much language that I wanted to explore a more physical physicality with what bodies can do in Distracted Blueberry.
Yeah. That's interesting because, I mean, obviously one of the things that is very much a trademark or noticeable in your work is kind of the use of other languages. And I mean, I'm just going to assume you probably don't know how to speak, Japanese, German, whatever other languages that you're using in all of your films. Maybe you do. I don't know. I mean, that'd be awesome. I wish I did. But what's behind your use of all these different languages, or why do you seem to like using kind of different various languages? Is it just because it kind of adds a layer of obfuscation to the dialogue and to the scene as it's playing out to viewers, or?
There were several reasons. When I first did it in Ponytail, it was because I was looking for a way for people to understand what was being said, because in my short films I had done text-to-speech but using English, and then I think afterwards at some screenings people couldn't quite understand what was being said. So I started looking into other languages, and also I really like the texture and the kind of things that I imagine when I hear different types of voices. And then also, I also liked that it would prompt me to do some research into the history of these different, like the history of Japanese cinema or the history of French cinema, and see if I could understand these cultures a little bit through watching their films, and then trying to make some kind of weird, like kind of some kind of piece of art that was knowledgeable about it and also its own thing, and somehow adding to it, like some kind of weird growth. And it's kind of exciting to look into something that's a bit alien to you, I find, like,
Sure, yeah.
And I don't know, I just have an imagination that's not excited by my own real life circumstances.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear that you kind of liked trying to get that window into other cultures, because part of the synopsis in The Colors Combined That Make White kind of reflects on this. I'll just read a little bit from it. Doupé's computer animated film has its characters rapidly evolve through these distinct acts while subverting the dominant archetypes in the Japanese salaryman genre. The hierarchical relationship between boss and employee is undone to examine language, act, and expression. Could you tell us a little bit about what is the Japanese salaryman genre that this film is kind of trying to subvert?
Well, I think I was looking at a lot of Ozu, and just how careful everything was, and how everyone is so nicely dressed and speaks so nicely, and then the office itself is so interesting. You have these rooms that are connected to each other, and there's these sort of seniority established seniority roles, and then it just seems so crazy to do something where you take it and then just sort of play with it a bit, and to make my own thing out of it, where I just felt free to do that.
Awesome. Let's watch a clip from The Colors That Combine to Make White Are Important. Glorious 4-3. I should.
私はあなたがもっと真剣に願いをしたい。そして、あなたは他に何が欲しい知っていますか？ 1したい。それだけです。1したい。
That is the trailer from The Colors That Combine to Make White Are Important. Was that the full thing, Barry, or did that cut off?
Oh, I'm just joking. I said we should watch the whole thing.
I honestly, that is what I'm going to be proposing to the to our WUF collective folks tonight in the group chat is maybe at least I think that I might take a quick review of that film because you graciously provided me the link. I love that film, and I guess that's like my favorite Barry Doupé film, maybe if you can pick a favorite. But yeah, one of the things that I wanted to get to, and we'll wrap this up shortly here. But I guess, you know, like in watching all of these films, I'm just like, and Meg and I watched Distracted Blueberry, Who's Toes, most of Ponytail last night. So we've been like on like a Barry Doupé bender. I think I probably did like a full working day of Barry Doupé films this week. It's been great. And like just watching these films and being like, I mean, just Distracted Blueberry on its own, 4.5 hour long film, all animated by you. Do you do the sound as well, sound design, or?
I did on Distracted. Yeah, I do. Distracted Blueberry, I did the sound, which I hope you appreciate the sound. To do sound on a 4.5 hour long film has special challenges that I don't want to bore you with, but it was really like, do you know how many times I've seen this film? I mean, you're gonna watch it once and you're gonna be like, oh, that was like, try to imagine me watching it to make sure there's no little pops or clicks in it over and over and over again.
Because that would destroy the film probably. It's crazy. Well, and that's what I was thinking, is just like how much time and effort and labor of yours goes into making these films. And obviously, you know, I mean, I don't know you extremely well, but I'm assuming that, you know, like fame and fortune isn't the driving motivator for you in making these works. So kind of what does drive you to put all of this incredible amount of time and energy and effort into making this work and all the other work that you make, you know, like what drives you to keep doing it?
I find when I'm not working on art, I usually take a break between the films, maybe 2 or 3 months, to kind of to sort of reset my mind. But I also find that if I'm not thinking about a film, I find life to be really dull. So life's exciting when I'm investigating ideas and when I'm thinking and when I'm going to the library and when I'm watching other people's work and when I'm excited about other people's work. Like it gives me sort of impetus to sort of, when I'm putting a scene together, if I think, well, what have other people done? And like, it's just this whole beautiful experience for myself, and to think and feel about my work and other people's work, and money and fame, and definitely is not has definitely not been I mean, I had been working on Distracted Blueberry for so long that I'd kind of forgotten what it was to apply to festivals and what even they were looking for, and what it was like, what even a film for them was. So that's probably a folly of mine. I probably, like, if I wanted, I probably could have made something a little more palatable, and it would have, I probably could have done really well. Like, maybe, I don't know.
Honestly, right now you're making me think of Charlie Kaufman, because I remember when Charlie Kaufman released like Anomalisa, I think it was. I remember him like doing this interview and just being like, you know, I had everything, you know, these couple films I made before, you know, I had all this momentum, and then it just completely, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. I don't know why it's making me think of that, but yeah, I mean, sure, you could. But I don't know, like, doesn't that just like kind of pervert an artistic vision when you start to like try to think of like, oh, how am I going to commercialize this, or how am I going to market this? Like, I don't know, when industry organizations and stuff do these like, the business of filmmaking and all this other crap, I just like, that's just like not the point of like truly artist driven works to me. It's just like, it just does a disservice to a lot of artists, I think.
I think in some ways, like all my feature films have been made with zero funding, just with me, because I wanted to make something. And I feel like that's not like something I purposefully did. Like I did apply for grants for all of them, except for Ponytail. I don't think I did, but it's sort of, it doesn't matter. Like I just feel like, well, for animation anyway, I think if I was doing a live action, I'd want to pay my actors, and I'd want to I'd have to rent equipment and everything, so it'd be different. But with animation, like that's kind of the beauty of it as well, is that it's a really personal thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what I love about I mean, experimental filmmaking generally, and probably why I haven't worked more in like even narrative or experimental narrative, is because it's easier, like just like I can imagine like getting a bunch of actors together and props and sets and paying needing to pay everyone, and renting gear and kind of animation or like working on kind of artist driven experimental films. You're able to actually just kind of just do it whenever you want and with the minimal amount of resources, and it's kind of really empowering as an artist, to be able to not have to worry about funding applications and like budgets and getting a notary public to sign your final report or whatever other bullshit that the funders ask you for.
But I have to say though that putting together grant proposals, even though I've failed a lot of times, for films, has really helped me clarify my own thinking process.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening thinking, that I'm saying that not to apply for grants or whatever, that's not it. It has helped me. Even a failure of it has helped me quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely agree with that. Going through that process and really thinking about what you're doing and your intent is always going to be a really helpful process. One of the last questions I wanted to ask was about Distracted Blueberry, and if there's any particular characters in the film that you kind of feel a direct kinship for, or if there's a character that you maybe identify with most. Meg and I were kind of talking about that for ourselves, and also wondering for you, mostly because we noticed you use like the lion, which is one of the most epic characters in the film, just that you use that still quite often in the promotion of the film. But is there any characters in the film that you feel you most identify with?
The banana.
The chocolate covered banana, right? Meg, that's what Meg referred to it as, the chocolate covered banana.
Oh, really?
And I was like, Meg, I don't know if that's chocolate. One of my favorite characters in the film, or like just one of my favorite characters, not necessarily that I identify with, because I've never been crucified, but is Smoking Jesus. I just loved when he finally showed up at about 3.5 hours into the film. But if I had to pick one that I guess identify with, and this is kind of Meg's suggestion too, but was the man with a strawberry, I guess would be my pick for who I identify with.
He's so tough.
Yeah, but like tender at the same time, offering the strawberry. Well, thanks so much, Barry, for taking part in this Q&A and for designing this shirt. Cue the shirt graphic. Come on, Joel, you can do it. If anyone wants to pick up some merch, check out on the website. Beautiful Barry Doupé designed limited quantity shirt at your disposal. And after, Clint Enns has a question in the chat. Jesus is in the film? Question mark. Major spoiler. Uh-oh. Yeah, sorry. Anyways, if you tough it, get to Smoking Jesus, I highly recommend the Smoking Jesus scene. That's all I'll say. Meg also says, I love the banana, I love the egg, the strawberry. It's nice to see these objects reappear in other work of yours too. As we noticed, a couple of reappearing kind of imagery when we were watching some of the other films of yours over the weekend. And Meg asked that question. Sorry, and I didn't see that until now. That Meg did ask that question about who you identify with most in Distracted Blueberry. Thanks, Barry, for taking part. Maybe to end things, do you want to tell us a little bit about or anything about what you're working on now, your latest project?
I'm working on sort of three things. I'm working on a short Amiga animation. And I'm working on a series of sculptures. And then I'm working on another feature film, which is sort of the last thing. The feature film is sort of the last thing in my list of things to do, because I want to think, like I'm sort of collecting, researching about what I want to have happen. But I'm really excited about it. Actually, sometimes I get too excited, I have to stop myself from thinking about it, because I don't know, I sort of need to stop myself. I need to keep it short, keep it watchable.
I look forward in anticipation, and then waiting in bated breath for your next, for the release of your next work, Barry. Maybe I'll just end with. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just thanks for programming and talking. And
of course, yeah. I hope that one day soon we can have you come out to Manitoba again, visit another beautiful blowing cornfield or whatever it was that we visited last time you were here many moons ago. So
okay, we'll get sunburned together at some point.
Yeah. Nice. Yes, that would be lovely. Maybe I'll just end with one more movie review. Do you have any requests? I got Cats. I got Parasite. Traffic by Jacques Tati is kind of a good one.
Oh yeah, let's do Traffic.
Okay.
That's kind of related to my research right now.
Okay, Traffic by Jacques Tati, 1971. Full of jokes that are more inventive than they are funny. Jokes that are actually about integrating a sense of design and choreography into the dimensions of media. The frame is its own character, elastic in its ability to fit an infinite amount of whatever Tati can stuff into it. Thanks, Barry.
Really,
what's that?
That's really accurate.
It really, I think all of your reviews are very accurate. Particularly, I'm thinking of Ending Things by Charlie Kaufman, Fun But Mopey. Yep. Parasite by Bong Joon-ho. Violence happens just like anything else that could happen. It just happens. It's pretty accurate. Anyways, thanks so much. Thanks so much again. And everyone can scroll down and click on the click here for Distracted Blueberry graphic below the chat. And that is how you can watch Distracted Blueberry tonight. So everyone enjoy, and also remember the chat that is below this video right now is open all weekend. So if you want to comment about your thoughts on Distracted Blueberry or any of the rest of the programming, feel free to add it to engage in the chat anytime this weekend. Thanks again, Barry.
Okay, thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.